Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program is brought to you by Jinx Logos. And if you want to outfit your sales team in top-of-the-line polos featuring your company's logo, call Jinx Logos. If you want your high school booster club to sell top-quality tees or caps to raise money for your team, call Jinx Logos. Jimmy Andrews can meet your logo and merchandise needs better than anyone in East Tennessee, period. Jimmy Logos, Jinx Logos. See for yourself why I use these guys. They're great. Jinx Logos. All right. Let's talk about the smoky gray uniforms. Players love them. As I said going into break, fans are kind of polarized. I've not heard many people say, Most people either love them or hate them. Let's go ahead and take a look at them. These are your home football grays, or alternate gray, and then your basketball alternate gray over on the right. And once again, I will point out that any areas like on the shoulder or where it says Vols in the basketball uniform, that is not black, that is anthracite. Everybody say it with me, anthracite.
Don't call your doctor saying, hey, I've heard we've got anthracite coming in.
Right. Guys, what are your thoughts on them?
I thought the best one, and what I heard a lot of response to, John, was the basketball uniform and how well that was received. And we also wondered, we've talked about this, how much are you going to be selling these in the souvenir stores? Yeah. If you're really pushing these, is it going to be one game a year, and is it going to be Western Carolina early, or who's it going to be?
I think it's going to be Georgia at home.
And you're 0-3 in them.
Yep, you're 0-2 in football, 0-1 in basketball. But here's the thing. This is why I think Nike and Tennessee may roll out new alternates every year. If these things are flying off the shelves, then it makes sense to put a new one out there to fly off the shelves next year too. Let's take a look at the helmet very quickly. All right, if you look, there's a mountain pattern built into it. I was told by somebody who was out in Oregon when they actually showed them the helmet. They're, oh, those are cool. And then Nike started talking about the mountain pattern, and they said, oh, yeah, now I see it. So it is not very noticeable. This is a template thing. Nike does this with other schools. We can show you right here, Oklahoma. Theirs has a wood pattern to theirs. And you see, it's hard to tell, but it's supposed to look like wood. Mike, you can't see it?
I see a pattern. I would not assume that's wood.
Yeah, everybody, who wouldn't want to wear a wooden helmet? But
wood is just synonymous with the entire state of Oklahoma. Yeah. That's the first thing I think.
It's Boomer Sooner. So Tennessee's is not, they say it's unique. Well, it's unique inside Nike's template, basically. Back to you guys very quickly. I would say, as somebody who's been a marketing director for a couple of companies, if you have something unique that people automatically see it and recognize you, that's branding. If you change it and now you're something that people on flipping by on television have to say, what is that? Who is this? That's the opposite of branding. No matter whether it's popular or not, that's the opposite of branding. Your thoughts on the grays, guys, who haven't chimed in yet?
Yeah, I think it's something that's here, so you're going to have to use it. But I agree completely on the branding. There's a lot of, hey, can we be Oregon conversation, but the reason it's worked for Oregon is because Oregon is unique in that they have something different every week. Trying to duplicate that will be very difficult. It's the orange and white, which I think, by the way, looked the best of the uniforms that came out. I thought the orange and white looked better than the grays.
I did too.
I like the orange and white as obviously your go-to uniforms. If you are going to do a gray once a year, I don't have a problem with changing that gray once a year and making it special. I mean, there's no tradition to the gray.
Now, how often should Tennessee wear these gray things? Let's say football.
Once a year.
I wonder if Butch Jones is going to start trying to wear them in these neutral location games. As you know, you're out of your home stadium, so you're not upsetting any of the traditionalists out there, and you can use that as all these games are presumably going to be televised nationally. You can kind of use it to market your program. I'm not a huge alternate uniform guy. I'm more of a traditionalist, but I don't think they're marketing to us. They're going for the younger set, the 16, 17-year-old kids that they're
But so much of this is about recruiting too, and what the recruits supposedly like.
But here's what's silly, and we showed this a few weeks ago, where this ranks on how they pick schools. It's not that big, and when everyone wears gray, why do you stand out? For all the talk that now they'll be able to recruit. They finished number 5 in the nation last year in recruiting, and in the top 10 the year before with Adidas, who everybody hates. So I think that's a little overblown. I know that's why they're doing it. I just don't expect that, okay, now they'll be number 1. If that's the case, why isn't North Carolina number 1 in football recruiting? Because they've had 400 Nike uniforms, a foot on their helmet, literally. Chrome, black, you name it, they've worn it. It hadn't worked. So I don't know that it's really going to drive recruiting, but that is who they're gearing it toward.
Recruiting's still what it's been in the past. It's having the right staff, the staff that can can create those relationships and build on those. And Tennessee's had that kind of staff. That's why they have signed top 5 classes back-to-back years.
I also asked a couple of guys whether or not they thought mix and match uniforms. Are you now going to see gray helmet, orange jersey, white pants? Are you going to see white helmet, white jersey, gray pants? Both those guys looked at me like, we hadn't thought of that. So hopefully, in my mind, hopefully you don't go down that road. But we'll see whether or not they mix and match, how often they do it. I think the recruiting, I think you nailed it. You need good salespeople. Butch Jones is an excellent salesperson. However, Tennessee has been trying to sell this gray stuff to you and to the media way too hard. It's unnecessary. All Tennessee needs to say is, it's for recruiting. Players like it. We're doing it. I think everyone would do that. But for some reason, Adidas, Nike, and Butch Jones have been trying to come up with different reasons that really make you tie to this gray. Let's give you an example here. All right, Adidas came out and said that smoky gray, well, that's been part of UT's palette. It was first worn in the 19-teens. All right, well, that's so you should like it. Well, as one of you pointed out, when was anthracite added to the palette? Off camera, you guys said that. Nike has now come out, and when they did the unveiling, they said, well, the smoky gray is so unique to Tennessee as a salute to the Smoky Mountains. Well, there's only one problem there. It's smoky gray with an E, which ties to the dog, not the mountains, which don't have an E in them. So, no, it's not the mountains. But Butch Jones, as you can read in his tweet beneath it, he actually claimed that Nike sent a team of researchers into the Smoky Mountains to find the exact right color of gray. This is not the Rocky Mountains. There is no gray. If anybody with eyes can see that the color is green if you look at the mountains here in East Tennessee, or brown in the winter.
You find a gray rock here and there.
Yeah, maybe they picked up a piece of gravel and said, this is the one. That's insane. I think they're trying too hard. But I also found where Nike looked at 3 other inspirations to pick this smoky gray. First of all, it rains more in Knoxville, 9 inches per year more in Knoxville than Seattle. So it's kind of a salute to the gray skies over Knoxville. The other thing they looked at, Andrew Jackson's hair. It's a salute to Old Hickory's hair. And the third thing, this is the most telling, the more old photos they looked at, everything in Knoxville was gray. If you go back to 1903 and look at Gay Street, there's no color there at all. It's all gray. All right. Yeah. Smoky gray, folks. I don't think it needs. The bottom line is, like it, don't like it, it's here. Tennessee can stop trying to treat everybody like they're idiots. Oh, well, it ties to this or that. Just say you like gray. That's fine. I don't think anybody's going to fight it.
You can't go black because that's Lane Kiffin's year.
Yeah, can't go back to that.
So you have to go with a different dark color.
Gray. All right, very good. When we come back, Vaughn Pearson, Bruce Pearl, we'll discuss. Come on back on the Sports Source.
From East Tennessee to Kentucky, no job is too small for Benedict Construction. Electrical work, heating and air installation, even carports and garages. With a reputation for excellence, rely on the custom work of Benedict Construction.